Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to another Office Hours. Of course, we'll do an Office Hours Q&A live, and then this will be here. The recording will be here for a while. So if you missed it, you can always rewatch it on replay and ask questions. I do look at questions and then I answer. So what we'll do is first the first priority for this call is to answer any questions you have. So if you have any questions about any course you're taking on Udemy or anything you're working on with your business or professionally, this is a good time to drop your questions in the comments. And also, the only way I'll know that you have questions is if uh, you post in the comments, because I don't know who's here unless you post. And while we're doing that, I'll actually go over. I'll wait for questions. Sometimes I get questions after the call. Sometimes I get questions during the call. But whatever. If you have questions about whatever you're working on, I'll prioritize that. But while I'm waiting for questions and while people start getting chatty, because it is a Saturday evening here, and usually it's kind of a low turnout day. I just didn't have enough time this month to do an office hours at a better time, and then I kind of ran out of time, and it's the last day of the month. So um, it's not the optimal time. Probably not. We're probably not going to have that many people join, but uh, whoever joins, I'll just do a little bit of mobile app development, show you how to do it in Replit. I kind of have an app half done. When I tried it in like something like September or August, I was trying a different tool that was kind of a traditional tool for like no coding. It was super clunky. But about a month ago, Replit came out with a feature where you can make your app in a much easier way, again with vibe coding. So I've been actually tinkering on my app. I created a course about it, and I actually have an app that's kind of not very far from getting launched, it seems. Of course, the devil's in the details, and there's a lot of detail, but for now it seems like it's relatively close. So again, if you have any questions or anything, if you want to chat, drop your questions and comments in the chat. It's the only way I'll know that you're here. But otherwise, I'll share my screen and we'll get into the whole app development thing. Let's see, screen is going, so I'll share my screen now. Share screen. Ta-da. Woo. There it is. Okay, so this is my app. Just to remind you, or not remind you, if you're new to this, just to let you know what it is. I'm making a mobile app for the cryptocurrency niche, and I'm trying to find what are the top moving cryptocurrencies in the last, like you see, 24 hours or 7 days. And then I'm trying to give the user reasons, like maybe a lot of big buyers are coming in, or there's some news around the cryptocurrency or something, so that the buyer can have a lot of the opinion, can form their opinion about any particular cryptocurrencies that are rising, instead of just looking at the chart and wondering like, what is this thing, can I trust it? And this is just going to be an educational app. Like, I don't think it's very risky to have an app like give financial advice. So it's not a financial advice app, but it is an educational app, and so the users can form their own decisions with what they want to buy. Um, and then you see, I have a kind of a couple of features I'm working on the bottom. These are the markets. So you have the biggest movers, for example. Um, I haven't tested it. I haven't tested it extensively. Yesterday was kind of a down day, it seems like. So I don't know. Not many big movers, which seems a little suspicious. But nevertheless, it's finding rising ones. Also, there's a bug here that I need to fix, perhaps on this call. Whale buying, like whales are big investors. So if you have a bunch of big investors with big volume purchases for some token, or even stocks for that matter, it's kind of a good signal, because maybe they know something. Big investors take big risks and all this. So if there's a big disproportion of buyers to sellers, usually can be a good sign for something nice to come. And then there's like new cryptocurrencies launched on different exchanges. This is also a catalyst for rise in various cryptocurrencies. This is a little buggy as well. So these are the two things I want to work on. And then the last thing is, if I want to click on any or tap on any, even in the list of the markets, right? Like the highest risers, if I click on one right now, it's not clickable. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to be clickable so that it goes to like a landing page for that cryptocurrency, and maybe I can gather some information about that cryptocurrency so that at least a person who's using this app and maybe coming across a cryptocurrency for the first time can at least understand what it is. Because sometimes we look at it and we're like, what is this thing? And then it's just buzzword, 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 buzzword. And we're like, okay, I read the description. I still don't know what this thing is. So let me just quickly check the call and everybody in the chat. Again, want to welcome everybody in the chat. If you have questions, I'll prioritize them. Just drop them in the chat area. I'll check in every maybe 3-4 minutes or so. But what I want to do is just show you how to make apps with Replit AI. This is all me chatting with the AI. This is Replit.com. I programmed by hand none of this, right? So what I'll do is, for example, I'll tell it, like, for example, this is called the trending now section. So I just have to be descriptive. So I'll write like in the trending now section, make a feature, and I'm trying to type fast. So I might not be as precise as I would like to be otherwise, because if I type it slow and really think through it, it might be really extra boring to watch, because I realize watching me type stuff can be boring. So I'll try to go fast, but because I'm going fast, maybe not so accurate. So in the trending now section, make a feature so I can tap on any of the cryptocurrencies in the list and go to the landing screen for that cryptocurrency and have information about it, like let's first see what it will make. So I'll launch this, and it's working and thinking. The information that I want is, I want to know, is this token a Solana-based token, an Ethereum-based token? I want to know, like, when was it launched, how long it's been trading, and perhaps there are a bunch of things that I haven't thought of, precisely because I'm going kind of quickly. So I want Replit to take a first crack at it and try it and make it, and then we'll see what is good about it, and if something is missing, we'll ask it to add. But first, let's just see what it makes. Yeah, and while it's doing that, sometimes it takes a while. Like, I really like Replit for the reason that I can kind of read what it's doing. Similar tools like Base44 or Lovable, maybe I just didn't find it, but I couldn't find a similar thing where it's like literally telling you what it's doing, because you should know what it's doing, right? See, like it says, create a coin detail screen. That's just what it called it. It's not an official name, but that's a relatively good name, coin detail screen. And so we'll have details about the coin. And then it says added to the Surge Stack Navigator. I have no idea what that means, but we'll figure it out. You can always also ask, like, we can always ask, what is? But I'll only ask that after it's done working. Otherwise, it'd be a little confused. Added a backend endpoint to fetch coin details. Exactly. So I needed to go and fetch details from some APIs that it's working with already. Make a crypto card, navigate to the details screen. Okay, I think I know what it's talking about, but it will be good to see when it makes it. Yeah, there it is. CoinGecko's coin detail endpoint gives us real data. Perfect. CoinGecko is like a really big aggregator of information about cryptocurrencies. So it's a good API to use. Sometimes the APIs, I have to make an account and have an API key. Sometimes it's not necessary. So luckily here it's not necessary. Then it's saying it's creating that screen. Then it's creating a search screen to understand the data types and the trading section. Or some of these have to think a little bit about what it's doing, because it's explaining the engineering decisions it's making, but they're not always ones you'd make necessarily. Sometimes it makes things too complicated. Like, what is this search screen? I don't know. It seems like it's going to be a separate screen for surging cryptocurrencies, but why do we need that? Because we have the trending ones. It seems like the same thing, so I'm a little confused. It's still working. See, it's still working and working. I'm just kind of talking through it because a lot of the time it's easy to direct it. It's just not easy to direct it correctly. So the talking through it, thinking through it sometimes helps because we're kind of designing a product on the go. Now it has now update search screen to add navigation to crypto card and top gainer card. Um, I guess top gainers are already here. So I always can ask it for clarifications, but first let's see what it's making because it's still working. If anybody wants to chat or ask questions, it would be an ideal time now because we have a little bit of downtime uh, be- before it completes the job. Because sometimes you launch a request to Replit and then it's like doing stuff, doing stuff, doing stuff, trying it one way, trying another way, encountering some error, trying something else. And so the wait can be boring. So if anybody wants to say hi, I'll say hello. I'll start the chat kind of. Where's everybody from? I see I have a few people on the chat in the call. So let's see what it made. Oh, cool. It ended the job. So we can see what it made. And then we can usually, like, if I wasn't doing this call live, I would kind of go back slowly and I would re ask it about all the things it made so that I know what it's doing because you have to be kind of like the engineer directing it because if you don't direct it well, it's going to make a very basic thing correctly, but as soon as there's any kind of complexity, it's going to start making crazy bugs, at least in my experience. So let's read it. It says I clicked on the first cryptocurrency, the top gainers list, and it took me right to the details page because it has its own testing environment. Okay, as soon as it is, I think it's kind of still working. All right, let's see. It's kind of sometimes it's a little weird. Like there it is. All tests, all tests passed. Now it's doing a code review, which is like a little bit boring. I already want to, I'm a little eager to try it out. Um, but it's a little boring. Um, like maybe a lot boring. I don't know. Now it says you can, okay, so it's kind of done. It looks like it. And it's giving a summary of everything it did. Who knows what it did? Let's read it. All tests passed. The code review passed with no critical issues. Sometimes it says that, and then I find a million bugs. So it's not always accurate. All right, let's see what it did. Hero section, coin, logo, name, symbol, and market cap, rank badge. Okay, that's cool. I don't see any of that. Let's see let's just see what happens when we click on one. I tapped one, and now see this wasn't there before. Like before, like 5 minutes ago, these lines they were just information. They were not clickable. But now if I click one, error. Very nice. The first one was giving not an error. Um, maybe it ended up hard coding it. We have to ask it and figure it out because it's a little suspicious that the first one worked, but like this one didn't work and none of the other ones work. So something's wrong here. But at least we got further, but not so much further. So let's read at least what it said. So hero section here on top, the price, very good. Price display, 24-hour range bar, cool. That's actually super fun. Maybe it's a little confusing for the user to see what is this thing. It's little too tiny, but performance grid, where's that? All-time records, the about this thing. If I have to read it, Hyperliquid is performant L1 optimized from the ground up. Like for a regular person, this would be worse than Greek. There's like, I don't know if you're based in the United States, but in the United States, there's a saying, it might as well be Greek. And I kind of know what it is, but the regular person wouldn't know what it is. And even if I know what it is, it's still confusing. Like, so it's written like an engineering geek or a crypto geek talking to another crypto geek, which most people are not that. So this is not helpful. Maybe in the future we can ask it to rewrite this in a more palatable, like explain it to me kind of like a 5-year-old kind of thing. Maybe a simplified summary that would be super helpful. Okay, so this landing screen is a little bit helpful, but what I want to figure out, first of all, why is there a bug when I click on all the other ones? Oh, that this one, see it now, it worked. Like I clicked on it before, and it used to say retry again, like this. And this pump fun used to do that. Now it still does that, but there's one that doesn't. The near one, near is good, and then hyperliquefied is good, but the other ones are going to give errors. So you can just say that, hey, like I got an error. Um, so you can put all kinds of questions, like what is the search stack navigator? There's a question I had about what is the search stack search screen. And then also just talking to it, this is a screenshot of an error that I get when I tap on most of the cryptocurrencies. Debug why this error occurred. Now, debugging here is weird because the error is not happening on the server where it can look at server logs. The error is happening on the client device, which is the phone. So we have to figure out how to best figure this error out. But before we do that, it has to work a little bit. And I'll just check the chat. The group today is not very chatty. The people on the call, hello. Introduce yourself, because for my own sake, because for me, one of the most boring things in Replit is waiting until it finishes working, because it's scrolling often way too fast. So I can't really read it until it's done. Like read it, and it jumps sometimes. And sometimes it just doesn't make a lot of sense. But let's see. Search is just an internal code name used for the markets tab. All right. So why didn't you just use the markets name? That would be so much easier, because it's already, see, the markets is right there already, this tab. So like it's already there. Why didn't you use that name? Now let me debug the error. It's happening when tapping a coin and loading the details. Yes, that's what found the issue. Logs confirm that CoinGecko's free API limits the rate. When you tap a coin, it fetches details, but after one or two requests, they block further calls. Oh no, that sucks. Because then I'll have to pay for a better API. But do I really want to pay? Perhaps. There's a few APIs. I'm using the free one now, just for on it. I guess if I'm just working on it, for now, it can be like this. The trend, because I have to see whether it actually gets me enough good information that makes the app actually usable. Because if I just get basic information, well, people can get that anywhere. Anyway, let's keep going. So at least to debug the issue, the trending endpoint already has a fallback to serve cached data. Perfect. But the coin detail endpoint doesn't have the same resilience for coins that never been cached. Okay. I'll fix two things. All right. Here it says I'll fix two things. Like I'm not fixing two things. Replit is fixing two things. Add entry logic that displays to the coin detail endpoint so it backs off and retries instead of immediately failing. Is that a good idea? Because if it retries, then wouldn't it bother the API more, and the API would make me wait more? So I don't know about this one. I have to question it about this one. Prefetch coin details from the trending data we already have. Okay. So even if the detail API rate is limited, users will still see. I like solution two, although neither of these is a good solution. The best solution is for me to bite the bullet and pay for a better API. The only reason not to is I don't know if this is the best API to use long term, because there are multiple APIs about tokens. So like maybe this is not the one that I want. But let's see. So it relaunched. I'll click on another one. So I haven't clicked on much so far. And now it seems like it's getting information. Okay, it got the information, but very limited, right? I think, see, it's using basic information, but it didn't really fetch anything. All-time records, it really didn't really fetch anything. So even though it doesn't fail, it doesn't quite succeed sufficiently. Okay, it's kind of rebooting the preview. I don't know why. let's see. I can see the full going CoinGecko data was already lots of useful fields. Build a fallback, retry. How much is it to? How much is it? Let's see if it knows. How much does it cost to get a paid CoinGecko API? Sometimes this thing is dumb and it's like I ask a random question and it just starts coding something. In which cases I tell it like don't code anything, only answer, in which case it only answers. But okay, so it fixed something. Oh yeah, fix the naming. It's like it's scrolling too fast. I can't really read it. Okay, let's see what's happening. Okay, so now it's searching the web trying to answer. I could have just Googled this at the same time as this is working. That would have been more efficient, but I didn't think well. Anyway, this is like so much easier than having to hire an engineer or even worse, programming the stuff yourself. Because even though this is a little frustrating, it's nowhere near frustrating learning how to code to make errors and bugs. Not learning to code to make bugs. You learn to code in hopes you would make error-free software, but you end up just making a bunch of errors and bugs. All right. So the free one, it does jump in price quite severely. Like 129 calls a month. So sorry, $129 a month is affordable, but it's not like I want to pay that. And you see, it says 30 calls per minute, but I wasn't making so many calls. Like this, in theory, should be enough. So there's something fishy going on here. I think the fallback should be other APIs. Which other APIs can you work with? So it's going to give me a list of APIs, and I should have asked for their pricing as well, because I think if you aggregate the information, a lot of the information will overlap, but maybe there'll be something that you can get, somewhere that's unique. But also maybe one, I have to sign up but not pay as much for the API usage for professional API access, because the current issue seemed to be API related because I didn't pay for it, causing problems. But the problems didn't seem to arise because it's free, because it's still 30 calls per minute is like a lot. I'm just developing this. I'm just the only person using it. All right, let's see what it said. It's already using CoinGecko and Coin Paprika, which is good. Oh, Coin Paprika is already powering the new whales and new listings. We can bother this thing about that, because when I go to new on the whales or new, oh yeah, new listings. When I go to new listings, there's no new listings. Actually, when I go to the new listings tab, when I click on the new tab and try to look up new listings, it doesn't show any. Is there something wrong with the Coin Paprika API? Can you debug this? So at least, let's see, maybe it's not getting any information from that Coin Paprika, because maybe that one is easier to work with. I don't know. Basically, we have to find a reliable one, a reliable API to work with. Whew. It says there are 45 coins. Let me check what's happening in the API. There are 45 coins with is new. So the API returns the data. Let me check where the problem is. So at least we're getting some data. It's maybe not parsing the data correctly. Found the problem. The problem is on line 216 of its code, which I saw none of the lines of its code. The ticker's endpoint is fetched with limit 250, which returns the top 250 coins by market cap, but most new listings have ranks well above. Ah, I see. So it doesn't, yeah, okay. Like rank, right. So they don't appear when, okay. The fix is to fetch individually for each new coin. I don't understand the fix. The fix is to fetch tickers individually for each new coin instead of replying. Okay, fine. So let's see what happened. It's still working and debugging and testing. So it says landed on the new listings. At least it's going to be showing new listings because it's very tiny. I'm sure you cannot see it on your screen, but it is showing that it's testing the new listings tab, which it got further than the current one, which had nothing. So they are new appearing. Let's see. I'm excited about it, but I'm also bored because I have to wait for it for so long. How's everybody doing in the chat? Let's see if Replit finished. Still working, but it's rebooting the app interface. Okay, almost done. Now we're getting 20 new listings with real data. Let me run a quick test. Okay, good. The new listing tabs is showing 20 cryptocurrency listings with real data. Here's what was wrong. The issue was that, yeah, we already read the issue. The fix fetches ticker data individually for each new coin using, I'm falling asleep reading stuff. Okay, let's see. If we click new, it better not show the previous error, but something more interesting. Okay, there's something here. All right. Now, I want to be able to click on these. So a new listing. Okay, great. So it has new listings and it has this new badge right here. New badge, new. Perfect. Now, let's see. Now what we should do, we should now be able to tap the, yeah, let's tap. Now, now I do see the newly listed cryptocurrencies. Now I want to be able to tap data, to tap on any of them and be taken to the cryptocurrency landing screen that we built earlier today. Sometimes this AI has a good memory, sometimes no. So it would be really helpful if we got the name, like cryptocurrency landing screen, which I did use that name, but it used a different name to describe it. Let's see what happens. Okay, it's going to build it, and then hopefully it doesn't rebuild the landing screen, but uses the same one. So we only have to debug that same screen that was already made. But yeah, if anybody is new in the chat while Replit is working, drop your comments or questions here because it's going to be working for a tiny bit. I'm going to go get a drink. I'll be back in 10 seconds. Also, if I'm doing office hours, I can kind of sit and do this app stuff, but sometimes I really like to do this work, specifically working with Replit, when I'm like walking somewhere, as long as it's safe and I don't hit a tree or a pole, because it's kind of boring to sit here. Because you can do this all from your phone as well, just telling it, hey, work with this API, build this feature, then you test that feature, then you keep working. And so that way you're at least getting some exercise, or you're kind of active, or it's kind of productive, because this way I'm just sitting and sometimes snacking and getting bored, and it's like counterproductive, getting unhealthy. So I like to do this like on a treadmill, or I used to live in a place where there was like a track that I could walk to and just walk around the track, um, so that I don't run into things like cars, but whatever. Let's see what it's going to make. It's like almost there, but it's going to be a while. Okay, it's restarting. I think it tested it. Oh, yeah. Coin Paprika is saying payment required error. They may be rate limiting the coins list endpoint. Let me check the logs. I guess this thing, when it's developing, it's making a bunch of API calls. And so, because of that, Coin Paprika might be limiting the API calls. So, it's running into this API call that is getting limited, rate limited. That's annoying. Yeah, because we're trying to query for all the tokens, and there's like 58,000 tokens, and it's expensive to query like that. So let's change the approach. Instead of fetching the full coins list every time, I'll cache it much longer. Okay. Yeah, definitely cache the whole list of coins, because it doesn't change that much. Right, 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 right. Okay. It's kind of annoying, because usually for development, you can kind of use basic versions of APIs, because you don't know what you want to pay for. Maybe you want to use some API in the long term, maybe you don't. You need to experiment. But here, it looks like I have to pay, which I could, but I don't really want to. Like, who wants to? Nobody wants to. So it's both APIs are rate limited now. I bet the rate limit is caused by extensive calling and testing during the actual writing of the code. So maybe if I wait a little bit in my own testing, it won't rate limit me. I don't know. Still working. This is the part where it's like really boring, because it's creating errors, kind of creating some features. I have to debug stuff. So this is where it gets time consuming. So you really need to find a convenient way. If it's your first priority to make your app, that's great. You can sit in front of a computer, devote time to it, because it's really not that much time in the end. But if it's not your first priority and you got to do other stuff, like anything, then this will give you anxiety, because it's taking more time than you want it to. And so you don't want to put yourself in that situation. So you want to allocate like some time. Like, hey, maybe I'll work on it this evening. Maybe I'll just only try to fix one error. Maybe I'll try to like make progress with pay for the API or whatever, then test with it. what is the free trial on the APIs, and then get past a certain step, and then the next day get past a different step. So at least you're making progress, but then it's not taking your time really away from anything else a whole lot if you just schedule it into a downtime. But it seems like it did something. It's going to start testing. Oh, okay. Successfully landed on the detail page in its testing. Everything looks good. Seems like navigating back and forth between the list and coin details is working smoothly. Great. Okay. Let's see. I'm excited. Main problem is that it's kind of time consuming, even if it's not really time consuming. I mean, it's time consuming like 1,000% less than before, because before you'd have to hire an engineer. They'd be stuck like crazy in dealing with all these APIs and rate limits, creating their own bugs and all of that. And you'd be paying for all that. Here, we've been on the call for like 37 minutes. I haven't worked on this for the entire time, but most of the time. So it's like it does kind of steal the time, but not too aggressively. So it says preview is going to be available soon. I'm ready. It's doing other stuff, other stuff. I'm like, okay, Whales tab ID. The Whales tab ID from Coin Paprika use a different ID format. Let me verify the coin detail endpoint. So I don't know. Is it creating some bugs that it's not supposed to create? It's having formatting issues like BTC, Bitcoin, or just Bitcoin. I need to add ID mapping. This is going to create so many complexity issues and bugs. I can already predict. Like usually Replit is horrible in these kinds of things. Sometimes it gets it right, but like in my experience, I'll probably have to direct it to undo all of this particular step and have to direct it exactly what the right strategy is or what the right thing to the steps are, because it's just not doing it. It's doing getting some Whales endpoint, returning an error. So this is painful. It's not super painful, but we're gonna have to wait like a few more minutes, which I really didn't want. I just wanted to see it. I'll probably since it's kind of Saturday evening, and usually the chat is more chatty, but now nobody's too chatty. So I'll probably jump off the office hours because this is kind of boring for me and maybe for people watching. But I do wanted to at least finish this latest thing so we can test it to see if we made progress. I mean, we kind of made progress. We have that landing screen for each cryptocurrency. The main problem is that it's useless right now. So it's same as not having one in a way. What is it doing? All right, testing the Whales tab button. Something went wrong. Zzz. Yeah. I'm gonna play around with YouTube options. There's an option to start a Q&A. Oh, doesn't seem fun. Let's see. This thing is still developing. It's like trying to pull up extra articles when looking at cryptocurrency, which is actually really good because then I can tell it to like synthesize all the information about the articles and summarize it. So perfect, because that could be much more helpful than the cryptocurrency description, which is typically written by crypto nerds who don't know how to write a clear description. So AI can help us. See, it's a very buggy because it's like good, reverted to the original simple approach. Like which simple approach? I didn't even know you were making a complicated approach. Okay. So it's attempting to create like a hot badge for hot cryptocurrencies, but it's going to only show it for some of them, which is, I guess, okay, because not everybody can be hot. I wouldn't know about this. All right, so it made some changes. New listing screen enhanced. We'll see about that. Sometimes it thinks it's enhanced, but it becomes worse. Whale navigation. Tapping any whale activity now navigates to the full coin detail screen. Okay, cool. Maybe we'll check it out. And then info banner updated. What does it say? Now accurately reflects that it shows training for the most attention. I don't know what it's talking about. I'm kind of tired of reading it, to be honest. Like, I'm a little impatient with it sometimes. I should be a little more patient, but also, I wish it just worked. Whales stack updated. Added coin detail route to the whales. So boring. All right, let's just test if it works. So we have the whales screen. Amazing. Something went wrong. Retry, not working. Okay. New cryptocurrencies. Let's see if we can tap on one. This is buggy. Like, why is it saying Bitcoin is newly listed? It's like the longest one. But let's see. Let's see layer 0. No, we don't. Um, let's see what's a good one. All right, let's just check what's as none of these are good ones, but let's see what happened. XRP. And it has, at least it has the about. So, okay, nothing really exciting here. So I'll have to dig into it in the minutia. Like the debugging would be to figure out like why it's showing me these are not new listings. These are like old listings. Maybe this one Aerodome financing could finance. It's a little bit new, but I don't know. Like you want to look at it 1 year, and when you want to click on it and look at a chart, but it doesn't show a chart. So that would be a next good thing to add as a little chart after clicking it. So you can see how long it's been trading and what it's been doing. And then you can start getting information about it. But for now, I'll end it here because I've bored myself into oblivion reading these little things, and it probably bored you. But we did get further. And so if you have any apps you're making, I mean, it's this easy. The takeaway is that even though it's boring, I'm a little tired also because I did a lot of exercise earlier today and then I ate a lot. So it's like my body's like, rest me, stop making me work. And I think my brain is doing the same. But it's pretty easy. And even though you bang your head against the wall a little bit, you kind of always end up like 2 steps forward, 1 step back on the right track. And then you kind of end up making an app relatively fast because if you wrote this all by hand, it would take so much time. But here we are able to work with it pretty dynamically, which is kind of cool. Anyway, whoever's left on the call and super bored, thanks for joining, and I'll see you in the next office hours.